Hello and welcome to The Defender. This is Wardens of the Cross. In today's world, the entire concept of love and the desire for it runs like a wildfire through society. It really always has. While humanity was created by God to desire love, affection, and a soulmate, it is also important to note one very crucial aspect. There are two kinds of love: worldly love and spiritual love, which is more like God's love. A major cause of marriages breaking down in today's world is that too often people are looking more for worldly and physical love than for spiritual love and an actual soulmate. In today's episode, we will begin by breaking down the attributes to each of these forms of love, their positives and their negatives, and then quickly summarize how one could or should use these two forms of love in unison within marriages, and just friendships in general. This will help them to keep strong and unwavering. The first of the two types of love is worldly love. Worldly love looks for two things in return for its attention. It looks for attention and love in return, and sometimes it looks for physical attention in return as well. While these are not necessarily bad or evil, when one looks for only these in a friendship, they will often find themselves let down. Worldly affections are not as tying and dedicated as spiritual and godly love, since they are bound to the desire of receiving things in return. The human nature, the almost animalistic nature in all of us, is to wish for attention, and that is how God made our physical forms. However, we must let worldly love work in unison with the Spirit, and we must remember that love which we have acquired from our souls, and from the part of us which is made in the likeness and image of God, the ability to love one another as God loves us, with unceasing love and as strong as ever, regardless of the affections paid to it in return. Spiritual love is a supernatural gift from God that is granted to mankind. It differs in many respects from worldly love. Spiritual love, true love, is often confused with the qualities of worldly love, which include temporary lust, physical attractions, long-term crushes, or even obsession. It is the most popularized in children's movies and in literature, and supposedly comes into play after the perfect kiss. It is portrayed as a selfish, what do I get kind of love, which could not be farther from the truth. How long would Cinderella's romance have lasted if she wasn't dazzlingly beautiful? Reality tells us that if this marriage actually took place, barring a miracle, it would have ended in a tragic divorce or separation. St. Paul gives the best description of spiritual or true love in the book of Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. It is not pompous. It is not inflated. It is not rude. It does not seek its own interests. It is not quick-tempered. It does not brood over injury. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. True love, spiritual love, always loves another person despite all of their flaws, shortcomings, and all else which comes with being part of a very fallible human. It always sees the good in people, regardless of whether they have done horrible things in the past or if they are not a fashion model. Spiritual love never fails, which is why it relies upon the supernatural strength God gives us. While spiritual love is superior to physical love and the emotions of the body, since it comes from the soul rather than worldly emotions, there is a time when they should both be used together rather than independently. The issue in marriages today is not that there is a lack of love, but rather that there is a lack of true love, and too much focus on worldly love, and less on spiritual love. A husband and wife must love one another for their personalities, their shared hobbies, and their interests, and most importantly, a shared moral belief and structure. Marriages are not rooted in physical love, as is believed today, but rather should be rooted in morality. Physical love is a part of a marriage which, while occurring, is not the centered objective. This goes for friendships as well. Many friendships are ruined because one person thinks the other is ignoring them, and the thought never occurs to them that perhaps the person is just busy. The thoughts are self-centered rather than thinking truly of the other person's feelings and intent. Worldly love, while certainly playing a part in marriages for the creation of new life, as God intended within marriages, should have little role in a true friendship. True friends should always consider all things, rather than irrationally jumping to the worst conclusions about the other. Worldly love, while being passionate, is also very jealous, and both of these aspects must be controlled in life. Spiritual love needs to be even more passionate than worldly love, and it should never be controlled. As Jesus tells us in Matthew 5:44, "But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." This is spiritual love, the love which always forgives and the love which always forgets all wrongdoing. It is the love which creates true friendships, and the love which makes us look through the evil to see the good in a person. This is true love, and this is what must be dominant in marriages and friendships today, in tangent with, not instead of, physical and worldly love.